Welcome back to Whispers of the Lost Age. Here, I share true encounters with mysterious beings from beyond the skies, stories designed to calm your mind and help you drift peacefully into sleep. Before we begin tonight's journey, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Drop a comment and say hello. Now, settle into a cozy spot, take a deep breath, and let's begin. Imagine standing alone on a quiet country road late at night, the world around you bathed in shadows, when suddenly, a strange, pulsating light appears in the sky. You blink, rub your eyes, but it doesn't vanish. Instead, it hovers, moves with impossible precision, and disappears in the blink of an eye. This isn't a scene from a science fiction movie. It's the reality reported by countless eyewitnesses around the world. Welcome to True UFO Encounter Stories, disturbing evidence that can't be explained. Tonight, we delve into accounts so compelling, so mysterious, that even seasoned investigators struggle to offer rational explanations. Across decades, there have been reports of people vanishing without a trace, only to return weeks or months later with fragmented memories and terrifying stories of what they saw. Governments have quietly investigated, classified, and, in some cases, attempted to bury the evidence. Why? What is it about these encounters that challenges our understanding of reality itself? Eyewitness accounts tell of lights performing maneuvers impossible by conventional aircraft, objects appearing and disappearing at will, and moments of missing time that defy all explanation. As we explore these accounts, you'll hear from people whose lives were irrevocably changed by what they saw. Ordinary citizens, military personnel, pilots, all of them describe experiences that challenge the very fabric of what we consider normal. These stories don't just make you question the skies above. They make you question what humanity really knows. So, what do people really see when they encounter UFOs? Why does so much evidence remain unexplained, hidden behind layers of skepticism and secrecy? Tonight, we peel back the veil, exploring true UFO encounters and the disturbing evidence that refuses to be ignored. Prepare yourself for a journey into the unknown, where reality and mystery collide in ways that will haunt your imagination long after the story ends. The night sky, vast and unending, has always held humanity's fascination, but for some, it becomes the stage for experiences that defy logic and linger long after the stars fade. Across the world, eyewitnesses from different decades have reported encounters so vivid, so unsettling, that they continue to haunt them years later. These aren't tales of imagination or hallucination. These are accounts from people whose lives were irrevocably changed in moments that seem impossible to explain. In 1967, in the small town of Shag Harbour, Nova Scotia, a group of local fishermen observed a low-flying object gliding silently across the water. It emitted a strange, greenish glow and moved in ways no conventional aircraft could achieve. The men described a sense of awe and fear as they watched the object touch the surface, seemingly sinking without a trace. The official investigation concluded it was unknown, but the locals knew they had witnessed something extraordinary. One fisherman recounted how, even decades later, he could still feel the cold air on his face and hear the soundless hum that accompanied the object's descent, a hum that seemed to resonate within his very bones. Thousands of miles away, in the deserts of Nevada in 1971, a retired Air Force pilot reported a close encounter while conducting routine training exercises. He described seeing a triangular craft hovering silently above the desert floor, its edges glowing with an unnatural light that pulsed rhythmically, almost like a heartbeat. The craft rotated in impossible angles, defying the physics he had spent a lifetime understanding. As he attempted radio contact with his command, the object disappeared instantly, leaving behind a scorched circular mark in the sand and a lingering, metallic scent in the air. Even seasoned colleagues who later examined the site could find no explanation for the anomaly. Meanwhile, in the rural outskirts of Brazil in the 1980s, a family observed strange lights above their property for several consecutive nights. What began as distant, hovering orbs soon escalated into closer, more alarming activity. The father described seeing humanoid figures with elongated limbs and glowing eyes emerge from the lights. These beings moved with precision and intention, seemingly studying the family without hostility, yet the encounter left an indelible mark on their psyches. Nights afterward were filled with fear and confusion, as if the veil between the ordinary and the extraordinary had been lifted permanently. Across the Atlantic, in the United Kingdom during the late 1990s, a group of hikers in the Scottish Highlands experienced a terrifying sight. In the stillness of a moonlit valley, they saw a formation of luminous disks moving in perfect synchronization, executing maneuvers no human pilot could achieve. The lights descended, hovered, and vanished in an instant, leaving behind a profound sense of unease. One hiker described the encounter as time-bending, recalling how minutes felt like hours and how the wind seemed to carry whispers that they couldn't comprehend. Not all accounts involve objects alone. In 2004, residents of Mexico City reported multiple sightings of what they described as ethereal beings, accompanied by shimmering lights. Witnesses spoke of an overwhelming sense of calm mixed with dread, as the beings seemed to communicate without words, transmitting images and sensations directly into the mind. The emotional impact of these encounters was profound. People struggled to articulate their experiences, often questioning their own sanity while knowing, with certainty, that they had witnessed something beyond earthly understanding. The patterns of these encounters reveal a commonality: bright lights that defy physics, objects that vanish or change shape instantaneously, and beings that exude intelligence and intent. Whether it's a lone observer in a rural setting or a group of professionals in the military, the accounts consistently include details that conventional explanations cannot encompass. Many witnesses describe a tangible change in the atmosphere, temperature drops, electric interference, or an eerie silence that seems to isolate the event from the rest of reality. Even in modern times, reports continue to emerge, undiminished in their intensity. In 2015, a pilot flying over the English Channel reported a metallic, oval-shaped object that mirrored the movements of his aircraft precisely, only to vanish at a speed impossible for any known human-made vehicle. Passengers reported feelings of dizziness and nausea, while the pilot noted instruments behaving erratically during the brief encounter. Investigations yielded no answers, only a growing list of unexplained phenomena. What is perhaps most chilling is how ordinary these witnesses are. They are farmers, teachers, pilots, families, hikers, people whose lives suddenly intersect with the inexplicable. Their stories are suffused with emotion, awe, fear, confusion, and sometimes a profound sense of purpose or revelation. They often struggle with disbelief from friends and family, yet they remain unwavering in the authenticity of what they saw. The consistency across decades and continents strengthens the notion that these are not isolated hallucinations, but part of a larger, uncharted reality. Each account builds upon the last, revealing patterns that challenge the limitations of human understanding. Lights that defy gravity, objects that vanish without trace, and beings that seem to operate on a different plane of existence suggest a reality far broader than our conventional perception. The implications are staggering. If even a fraction of these reports are accurate, the world we know is only a fragment of what truly exists. As we transition from these eyewitness accounts, the story doesn't end with what was seen. Many of these encounters leave behind physical evidence, scorch marks, radiation readings, missing time, that further defy explanation. Investigators, both governmental and civilian, have been documenting these incidents for decades, creating a mosaic of phenomena that refuses to conform to known science. Yet, for every official report, countless personal experiences remain untold, lost in the shadows of skepticism, fear, or disbelief. The chilling truth is that for those who have witnessed UFOs firsthand, life is irrevocably changed. Nights become filled with questions, skies with possibility, and reality itself with uncertainty. What begins as a fleeting glimpse can evolve into a lifelong quest for understanding, one that challenges the boundaries of perception and the comfort of the familiar. And as more accounts continue to surface from every corner of the globe, one question becomes unavoidable. How much of what we call reality is only what we are capable of seeing, and how much remains hidden in the dark expanse above? The accounts of ordinary citizens, the stories of pilots and military personnel, add an entirely different layer of credibility to the phenomena. When trained observers, individuals whose professional lives revolve around precision, physics, and situational awareness, report sightings of objects moving in ways that defy conventional understanding, the implications become difficult to dismiss. These are individuals who know the limits of aircraft and human reaction, yet they describe encounters that stretch the boundaries of possibility. One of the most widely cited incidents occurred in 1980 over the coast of Belgium, where multiple F-16 fighter jets tracked unknown objects performing maneuvers that no human-built aircraft could replicate. Radar operators confirmed the presence of these crafts, which moved at astonishing speeds and executed instantaneous changes in direction without deceleration, something that would tear apart any conventional pilot. The pilots described a sense of disorientation as they tried to match the speed and agility of the objects, noting that their own instruments fluctuated erratically during the encounter. These reports were formally documented by the Belgian Air Force, lending a weight of authority that civilian sightings alone cannot match. Similarly, in 2004, during the now famous Nimitz UFO incident off the coast of California, Navy pilots reported a tic-tac-shaped object exhibiting extraordinary speed and acceleration. The pilots, highly trained in both combat and instrumentation, watched as the object hovered, darted at incredible velocity, and vanished without any discernible propulsion system. Radar logs, infrared footage, and official Navy reports corroborated the pilots' testimonies, making this one of the most credible military UFO encounters in modern history. The pilots themselves expressed astonishment, noting that their understanding of aerodynamics and physics was insufficient to explain what they had witnessed. Air traffic controllers also contribute compelling accounts. In several instances, professional controllers have reported radar contacts that defy conventional explanation. Unlike civilian witnesses who may misinterpret lights or atmospheric phenomena, controllers operate under strict protocols and are trained to distinguish conventional aircraft, weather, and electronic anomalies. In 1976, controllers at an international airport in Japan tracked multiple unidentified objects over several hours, coordinating with pilots who visually confirmed the objects. The crafts appeared to disregard conventional flight patterns, sometimes moving against prevailing winds or stopping midair with no apparent energy source. Official documentation from this incident remains classified, though leaked reports confirm the extraordinary nature of the encounter. The comparison between civilian and professional testimonies reveals a striking consistency. While civilians often describe bright lights, hovering orbs, or humanoid figures, professionals focus on high-speed crafts, unusual flight characteristics, and precise maneuvers. The underlying reality is the same: objects behaving in ways that defy our current technological and scientific understanding. Both sets of witnesses report a profound sense of astonishment and a recognition that what they are seeing challenges fundamental assumptions about the physical world. In 1976, the Westall High School incident in Australia involved not only students but also Air Force personnel who observed a flying saucer-shaped object land and then take off at incredible speed. While students described a large, silver disk that defied imagination, military personnel corroborated the report, confirming that unusual radar readings and ground disturbances aligned with eyewitness accounts. The integration of civilian observations with military confirmation strengthens the credibility of such events, revealing that extraordinary encounters are not confined to isolated imaginations. Another notable case comes from 1989, when Japanese Airlines Flight 1628 reported an encounter over Alaska with 3 unidentified objects. The experienced crew described the objects as enormous, metallic, and glowing with an unearthly light. The aircraft's radar detected the objects, and military jets scrambled to intercept them. The objects exhibited acceleration and maneuverability far beyond the capabilities of any known human technology, disappearing in moments when approached. FAA documentation confirms the authenticity of the incident, and it remains one of the most compelling cases involving commercial aviation professionals. Radar anomalies, instrument malfunctions, and close encounters create additional layers of evidence. In numerous reports, pilots have described sudden electrical interference, instruments failing, or communication systems cutting out as objects approached. These occurrences suggest not only physical presence, but also an interaction with technology beyond human comprehension. One retired Air Force pilot recounted how an unknown craft appeared above his aircraft, and simultaneously, his instrumentation went haywire while the craft remained perfectly stable in midair. Such accounts raise critical questions about the potential capabilities of these objects and the limits of our understanding. The psychological impact on pilots and military personnel is also noteworthy. Unlike civilians, these individuals are trained to remain calm, focused, and analytical under stress. Yet many describe a mixture of awe, fear, and deep confusion. In interviews, pilots frequently recount the struggle to rationalize what they see while maintaining professional composure. Some have even reported subsequent scrutiny from superiors or government authorities, reflecting an ongoing tension between public disclosure and national security. The secrecy surrounding military encounters fuels speculation and reinforces the eerie sense of a hidden reality just beyond our perception. Comparing decades of reports reveals patterns that transcend borders. In the 1950s and 1960s, military pilots in the United States, such as those involved in the famed Project Blue Book investigations, reported UFOs performing maneuvers impossible for contemporary aircraft. By the 1990s and 2000s, radar-confirmed encounters in Europe, North America, and Asia demonstrated consistent behavior. High-speed travel, instantaneous directional shifts, hovering against gravity, and electromagnetic interference. These recurring patterns suggest that the phenomenon is global, persistent, and technologically sophisticated. Civilian and professional accounts converge in other ways. For instance, both often report a sense of missing time, heightened awareness, or an unexplainable shift in perception during encounters. While the contexts differ, pilots at 30,000 feet versus a farmer in a field, the experiences carry similar emotional weight: confusion, awe, and the realization that the universe may be far stranger than commonly understood. These shared elements create a continuity between civilian and military narratives, reinforcing the notion that we are dealing with a phenomenon that is both pervasive and consistent across cultures and contexts. The accumulation of official documentation, radar evidence, and visual confirmation makes the military and pilot reports among the most credible sources in the study of UFO phenomena. While skepticism remains prevalent, the detailed logs, corroborating testimonies, and photographic and radar evidence challenge conventional dismissal. Even more compelling are the incidents that endangered flights, as pilots recount sudden appearances of objects directly in flight paths, requiring evasive maneuvers to avoid collision. These encounters elevate UFO phenomena from curiosities to potential hazards, demanding rigorous investigation and open inquiry. Ultimately, military and pilot reports reveal an extraordinary pattern of encounters that cannot easily be explained away. The convergence of visual, radar, and instrument-based evidence, coupled with the reliability and training of witnesses, underscores the need for serious consideration. The skies, as these accounts illustrate, are far more active and enigmatic than most people realize. What begins with bright lights in the night sky extends into a complex tapestry of high-speed crafts, inexplicable maneuvers, and encounters that challenge our understanding of physics, technology, and the very limits of human perception. The accounts of military and civilian witnesses are compelling on their own, but when these experiences intersect with official government documentation, the picture becomes both more credible and profoundly unsettling. For decades, governments around the world have quietly investigated, catalogued, and sometimes suppressed reports of unidentified aerial phenomena, often creating more questions than answers. Among the most well-known of these efforts was the United States Air Force's Project Blue Book, which operated from 1952 to 1969. Thousands of UFO reports were collected, analyzed, and classified, and while the majority were dismissed as misidentifications or natural phenomena, a significant number remained unexplained. These unexplained cases reveal patterns and behaviors that echo the testimonies of civilians, pilots, and military personnel alike. Documents reveal sightings of objects exhibiting incredible speeds, sudden stops, and instantaneous changes in direction, maneuvers that defy the laws of physics as we understand them. One report details a metallic, saucer-shaped craft observed by multiple Air Force personnel in 1965, moving with precision that no human pilot could achieve, leaving radar operators both astonished and perplexed. The meticulous records include photographs, radar readings, and witness statements, yet the official conclusion often skirted the implications, labeling the incident simply unidentified. In more recent years, the Pentagon's UFO task force has declassified videos and reports that undo the enduring mystery. The 2017 release of the Gimbal and Go Fast videos, captured by Navy pilots, revealed unidentified objects moving with acceleration and agility far beyond any known aircraft. Pilots involved in the encounters expressed frustration, astonishment, and even fear, describing how the objects defied conventional propulsion and exhibited behavior that challenged not only engineering principles but the limits of human comprehension. Government documents accompanying these releases confirmed the authenticity of the videos and provided context that the phenomena were taken seriously at the highest levels of the military. The credibility of such documents is enhanced by the layers of bureaucracy required to obtain them. Leaked reports, declassified files, and whistleblower testimonies illustrate that while many UFO encounters are documented, the process of public disclosure is mired in legal, bureaucratic, and national security barriers. Sensitive information is often withheld under the guise of protecting military technology, safeguarding strategic operations, or maintaining public confidence. Yet for those who study these materials, the selective disclosure raises more questions than answers. Why do some encounters remain classified for decades? Why are corroborated incidents, complete with radar data and multiple witnesses, still treated as anomalies rather than phenomena demanding serious investigation? Project Blue Book, while often cited as a definitive historical archive, only scratches the surface of government knowledge. Internal memos reveal high-level concern about the implications of these unidentified objects, particularly their apparent disregard for airspace boundaries and flight regulations. In several cases, classified files describe near misses between commercial or military aircraft and UFOs, suggesting that these phenomena are not only mysterious but potentially hazardous. Air Force personnel were sometimes instructed to report sightings meticulously while simultaneously refraining from public discussion, creating a culture of secrecy and suppression. Internationally, declassified documents from the United Kingdom, France, and Canada corroborate the persistence of UFO phenomena. The French Gaipan reports, for example, provide detailed analyses of aerial anomalies with photographic and radar evidence that remain unexplained after rigorous investigation. Similarly, UK Ministry of Defence files reveal that government investigators documented hundreds of sightings, noting patterns of high-speed maneuvers, luminous objects, and anomalous electromagnetic effects. These declassified records reinforce the consistency of UFO behavior across time and geography, mirroring patterns reported by pilots and civilians alike. Beyond the empirical evidence, these files also highlight the psychological and institutional challenges involved in acknowledging UFO phenomena. Officers and analysts often struggle to reconcile the reports with known science, encountering skepticism from colleagues, political pressures, and public disbelief. One declassified memo from the Pentagon emphasizes the tension between acknowledging unidentified aerial objects and maintaining national security priorities, illustrating the delicate balance governments attempt to strike between transparency and control. The documents suggest that the anomalies were often significant, but lacked sufficient understanding to categorize them, leaving a persistent tension between observation and explanation. Legal and bureaucratic barriers further complicate public access to these files. In the United States, the Freedom of Information Act has been instrumental in releasing declassified reports, yet the process is painstakingly slow and heavily redacted. Sensitive information is routinely withheld, often for decades, creating a fragmented record. Whistleblowers have occasionally leaked files, video footage, or internal memos, providing glimpses into phenomena that remain officially unexplained. Each leak is accompanied by a surge of speculation, public debate, and renewed calls for transparency, yet the broader patterns remain elusive, hidden behind layers of classification and procedural hurdles. One particularly compelling instance occurred in 2007, when multiple UFOs were reported near the Nellis Air Force Range. Declassified documents reveal that military personnel tracked objects performing extreme maneuvers, including rapid ascents, high-speed transits, and sudden directional changes. Pilots reported the objects as solid and controlled, yet they were unlike any aircraft in the U.S. inventory. Radar operators recorded precise trajectories, but analysis yielded no conventional explanation. These documents, now partially available to the public, underscore the tension between observed reality and institutional skepticism. Declassified files often contain corroborative evidence that complements eyewitness and pilot reports. Radar logs, infrared imaging, photographic evidence, and instrument readings provide a multi-dimensional view of these encounters, strengthening their credibility. Unlike anecdotal accounts, these government records offer data that can be scrutinized, analyzed, and cross-referenced, creating a compelling framework for further investigation. In some cases, multiple branches of the military documented the same encounter, providing independent verification and reinforcing the seriousness with which these phenomena were treated. Yet despite the compelling evidence, many questions remain. Why do some encounters, even when fully corroborated, fail to trigger public acknowledgement or scientific inquiry? Why do official reports often downplay anomalous findings as unexplained but likely natural phenomena? Declassified materials suggest that, beyond technical considerations, the potential societal impact of acknowledging extraterrestrial technology or non-human intelligence is a significant factor. Governments are aware that full transparency could challenge fundamental assumptions about reality, prompting caution in what is disclosed. The intersection of leaked materials and declassified evidence also reveals startling anomalies. Some documents describe objects that seem to cloak themselves, disappear from radar, or manipulate their environment in ways that suggest advanced understanding of physics beyond human capability. Engineers, scientists, and analysts reviewing these files frequently express bewilderment at the sophistication implied by these observations. The consistency of these phenomena across decades, coupled with official documentation, strongly indicates that something extraordinary is taking place, something that defies conventional explanation yet continues to be documented rigorously. As we consider the weight of government files, it becomes clear that these are not isolated incidents or flights of imagination. The cumulative evidence, from Project Blue Book to the Pentagon UFO Task Force, from Gaipan reports in France to the UK Ministry of Defence files, forms a mosaic that challenges the boundaries of human understanding. Each document, each radar trace, each pilot log contributes to a pattern. Unidentified objects moving with precision, speed, and purpose, observed by trained professionals, and often corroborated by multiple sources. The persistence of these reports across decades and continents makes a compelling case for serious scientific and public scrutiny. The implications extend beyond curiosity. If these objects are indeed of non-human origin or represent technologies far beyond our current capabilities, the societal, scientific, and philosophical consequences are profound. Governments, while documenting these phenomena, face a delicate balance. The need to study and understand these anomalies without inducing panic or revealing sensitive strategic information. The bureaucratic and legal barriers to disclosure are both a shield and a limitation, keeping the public in partial darkness while insiders continue to grapple with the reality above. Ultimately, declassified documents and leaked government files do not provide all the answers, but they do offer undeniable evidence that something unexplained is occurring. Radar readings, pilot logs, infrared footage, and multi-decade investigations converge to reveal a phenomenon that challenges conventional science and defies casual dismissal. While the public often sees only fragments, the full picture, pieced together from thousands of documents, testimonies, and corroborations, suggests that UFO phenomena are a persistent, global, and credible mystery. The files raise more questions than answers, but in doing so, they illuminate a path for continued inquiry, inviting both skepticism and wonder. While government files and pilot reports provide the framework of credible UFO encounters, there exists another layer of the phenomenon that is deeply personal, disquieting, and often transformative: the experiences of missing time and alien abduction. These accounts, documented over decades, reveal a side of UFO phenomena that challenges not only our understanding of technology, but also the very fabric of human perception and memory. Unlike a distant craft seen on radar, these encounters occur in the intimate space of everyday life, affecting ordinary people in ways that leave lingering psychological, physiological, and emotional scars. Missing time is one of the most consistent features reported across abduction cases. Witnesses often describe lapses in memory lasting minutes, hours, or even days, with no recollection of what occurred. In some cases, individuals awaken in unfamiliar locations, disoriented and bewildered, with subtle physical marks, scratches, bruises, or unusual impressions on the skin. One woman from Ohio recounted how she had been gardening in her backyard when she suddenly found herself inside her home, with several hours unaccounted for. The sensation of losing time was accompanied by a lingering sense of dread, a weight that seemed to press against her consciousness, as if she had glimpsed something profoundly alien and inexplicable. Many abduction accounts include vivid descriptions of bright lights, unusual sounds, and sensations of paralysis or immobility. Victims often describe being enveloped in a soft, penetrating glow, sometimes accompanied by humming or mechanical-like tones that resonate internally. In a case from the American Midwest in the 1970s, a farmer reported being lifted from his tractor by a beam of light, unable to move or speak. He described floating inside a sterile, metallic environment, where figures with elongated limbs conducted examinations using devices that emitted soft pulses of light. These experiences often blend fear, awe, and a strange sense of observation, as if the abductee is both participant and subject in a phenomenon beyond human comprehension. Physiological effects frequently accompany abduction events. Witnesses report sudden changes in heart rate, blood pressure fluctuations, and, in some cases, residual neurological symptoms such as headaches, dizziness, or heightened sensitivity to light and sound. In a notable case in New England during the 1980s, a man described waking up in a field hours after disappearing with no memory of the interim period. Doctors noted unusual markings on his body and minor scarring that could not be explained by conventional causes. Psychologists evaluating these individuals have found patterns of anxiety, sleep disturbances, and post-traumatic stress, demonstrating the profound impact these encounters have on mental and physical health. The psychological dimension is as compelling as the physical. Many abductees recount a sense of disorientation, an internal struggle to reconcile the experience with their prior understanding of reality. Dreams and flashbacks often replay elements of the encounter, merging with conscious memory in ways that blur the line between reality and perception. Hypnotic regression has sometimes been used to help individuals recover suppressed memories, revealing vivid details of medical examinations, communication attempts by non-human entities, and environments that defy earthly architecture. Critics argue that these memories may be suggestive or implanted, Yet the consistency of patterns across independent cases worldwide lends credence to the authenticity of the experiences. Patterns emerge across cultures and decades, suggesting that these phenomena are not isolated incidents or purely psychological anomalies. In the 1960s, the famous Betty and Barney Hill case described a nighttime encounter in New Hampshire where the couple experienced missing time, vivid lights, and examination by beings with large eyes and small frames. Decades later, similar reports emerged in South America, Europe, and Asia, often involving comparable sensations: immobilization, bright lights, strange odors, and an overwhelming sense of being observed. These recurrent motifs suggest an underlying structure to the abduction phenomenon, one that defies explanation through conventional science or cultural expectation alone. Interestingly, abductees frequently describe the experience as both terrifying and transformative. Many report gaining heightened awareness, new perspectives on existence, or a lingering fascination with the cosmos. Yet these insights coexist with fear, anxiety, and a pervasive sense of vulnerability. One woman from California recounted a series of abductions that began in her teenage years and continued into adulthood. While she described moments of wonder and inexplicable knowledge imparted during the encounters, she also spoke of an ongoing fear of being observed, an unsettling awareness that her reality was permeable to forces beyond her comprehension. Medical examinations, whether real or perceived, are a consistent feature in abduction narratives. Witnesses describe probes, scans, or sampling procedures conducted by beings who appear intelligent, precise, and purposeful. The instruments described are unlike any human medical equipment, often emitting pulses of light or sound that interact with the body in ways that are unfamiliar yet unmistakably deliberate. In some cases, abductees report learning telepathically, or receiving impressions, images, or sensations that feel alien yet coherent, suggesting a form of communication that transcends language. Another dimension of these experiences is the sense of temporal distortion. Victims often report events feeling longer or shorter than they objectively are, sometimes realizing hours have passed in what seemed like minutes. In one account from the American Southwest, a man described being taken aboard a luminous craft while camping in a remote area. When he returned, he discovered that an entire night had vanished from his memory, leaving no physical evidence of his time aboard the craft other than an inexplicable fatigue and minor abrasions. These distortions challenge our understanding of time itself, suggesting that the phenomenon may manipulate perception or even the flow of temporal events. Children and adolescents are frequently involved in abduction reports, adding another layer of complexity and concern. In numerous cases, young witnesses describe encounters with clarity and detail that is strikingly consistent with adult accounts. A girl in Northern Europe recounted being visited by small, humanoid beings with large, dark eyes. She described floating sensations, bright lights, and a sequence of events that mirrored adult experiences: immobilization, examination, and an eventual return with no memory of the time elapsed. Psychologists studying these reports note the consistency and coherence of children's testimonies, suggesting that cultural contamination or suggestion alone cannot account for the phenomena. Geographical distribution also reveals patterns. While sightings and abduction cases occur worldwide, many cluster in rural or remote areas, suggesting that isolation or minimal human interference may facilitate encounters. However, urban cases exist as well, challenging the notion that these experiences are solely a byproduct of remote environments. In many instances, abductees report seeing crafts hovering near highways, residential areas, or industrial sites, creating an unnerving contrast between the mundane and the extraordinary. The juxtaposition of everyday settings with anomalous phenomena reinforces the sense that these events are not constrained by human expectations or geography. Physiological markers sometimes accompany memories of missing time or abduction. Some witnesses report unexplained scars, dermal impressions, or sudden changes in hair or skin pigmentation. In other cases, individuals display unusual sleep patterns, heightened sensitivity to electromagnetic fields, or a newfound interest in technical or cosmic knowledge. These physiological and cognitive changes suggest that the phenomenon is not merely perceptual, but may interact with the body and mind on a level that science has yet to fully understand. Cultural interpretations vary, yet the underlying experiences are strikingly similar. Across continents and centuries, humans report encounters with beings, bright lights, missing time, and an overwhelming sense of observation. Ancient folklore and modern abduction narratives often share motifs, indicating that these phenomena may have persisted throughout human history, evolving in their cultural context but retaining a core experiential pattern. This continuity raises profound questions about the nature of the phenomenon. Is it technological, psychological, extraterrestrial, or a combination of factors beyond our current comprehension? The consequences of these encounters are profound. Many abductees struggle with anxiety, social isolation, and a sense of being different or disconnected from others. Yet some report enhanced intuition, creativity, or a heightened awareness of universal interconnection. The duality of fear and transformation illustrates the profound psychological complexity of abduction phenomena. Witnesses live with a tension between the inexplicable terror of the experience and the possibility that it offers insights into realities beyond human understanding. In the end, missing time and abduction stories connect the deeply personal with the universally mysterious. They bridge eyewitness reports, military sightings, and government documentation, creating a continuum of experiences that challenges conventional understanding. They demonstrate that UFO phenomena are not confined to distant skies or radar screens. They can intrude upon daily life, manipulate perception, and leave enduring psychological, physiological, and emotional traces. These encounters confront humanity with questions that are simultaneously terrifying and awe-inspiring, challenging our assumptions about reality, consciousness, and the limits of the known world. The deeply personal experiences of abduction and missing time are often accompanied, or sometimes followed, by tangible, physical traces that resist conventional explanation. Where eyewitness accounts and radar sightings capture ephemeral, transient events, physical evidence presents a concrete and sometimes startling layer of the phenomenon. Fields scorched with circular patterns, patches of land where vegetation behaves oddly, anomalous radiation readings, and metals of unknown composition suggest that these encounters leave impressions on the material world, challenging both science and perception. One of the most famous cases occurred in 1966 near Socorro, New Mexico, when a police officer observed a landed disc-shaped object in a remote field. Upon investigation, he discovered depressions in the ground, soil samples that displayed unusual magnetic properties, and scorch marks that did not match the known energy outputs of any conventional craft. Local scientists later analyzed the samples and found traces of rare metals, yet the composition did not correspond to any known terrestrial alloy. These findings added credibility to the officer's testimony, suggesting that the craft had indeed made contact with the Earth in a controlled manner, leaving behind anomalies that science could not fully categorize. Crop circles, though often sensationalized in popular media, provide another avenue of physical evidence. While many formations are human-made hoaxes, documented cases from rural England and parts of Europe have exhibited characteristics inconsistent with fabrication. Stalks in certain circles show elongation, nodes bent at unusual angles, and expulsion cavities that indicate rapid heating. In some instances, scientists and agricultural researchers who examined these formations observed subtle radiation anomalies, magnetic fluctuations, and chemical traces in the soil that could not be readily explained. These anomalies suggest an energy interaction far beyond simple mechanical flattening, hinting at forces capable of manipulating matter in unusual ways. Radiation anomalies have been documented in several instances involving UFO landings or sightings. In Sweden during the 1970s, farmers reported unusual lights in the sky, followed by patches of land where vegetation failed to grow and soil radiation readings spiked above normal background levels. Investigators from local scientific institutions confirmed elevated radioactivity, yet no source could be identified. These cases challenge assumptions about energy sources, propagation, and the potential biological impact of unidentified aerial phenomena. Even when scientists attempted to replicate the readings, the results remained unexplained, raising questions about the interaction of UFOs with terrestrial environments. Unusual metals and materials have also emerged as part of the puzzle. In one case in the United States, a small metallic fragment was recovered after witnesses reported a bright object landing briefly on farmland. Laboratory analysis revealed an alloy with an atomic composition slightly outside known natural formations. Isotopic ratios did not correspond to any conventional material, leaving experts puzzled. Metallurgists noted the fragment's unusual crystalline structure, which suggested rapid cooling or exposure to extreme energies, yet there was no discernible evidence of heat distortion on the surrounding soil. Such findings imply processes or technologies beyond current human capability, further bridging anecdotal sightings with measurable reality. Other physical traces are subtler but equally intriguing. Trees have been reported with bark stripped in symmetrical patterns, or with leaves fused in ways suggesting intense localized heat or energy manipulation. In rural Argentina, witnesses noted an object hovering over a wooded area, after which investigators found a perfectly circular imprint on the forest floor. The surrounding soil was compacted and contained unusual mineral deposits. Botanists who examined the nearby vegetation observed anomalies in growth patterns consistent with intense energy exposure. These occurrences suggest a tangible interaction between UFOs and the natural environment, one that science has yet to fully quantify or understand. Even in urban areas, reports of physical traces have surfaced. Pilots and ground observers alike have reported objects emitting electromagnetic interference that temporarily disables vehicles, lights, and communication equipment. In one documented case, a luminous craft hovered above a city street, leaving behind scorch marks on asphalt and causing electronic disruption in nearby vehicles. Engineers who later examined the site found no evidence of conventional electrical surges, yet all electronic systems had temporarily failed. These anomalies suggest that UFOs may interact with electromagnetic fields in ways that are both localized and highly controlled, presenting phenomena that challenge established understanding of energy transfer. The scientific community has attempted to analyze these phenomena with rigor, yet the limitations of current technology and methodology often frustrate efforts. Soil samples can reveal unusual elements, but researchers struggle to determine whether anomalies are extraterrestrial, environmental, or artificially induced. Radiation readings are difficult to replicate, especially when taken long after the initial encounter. Metals may resist classification due to their unique isotopic or crystalline structure, defying standard metallurgical categorization. Even crop formations, while visually striking, pose challenges in distinguishing naturally occurring anomalies from human fabrication. Scientists often find themselves at the limits of observation, documentation, and interpretation, caught between empirical evidence and the extraordinary nature of the events. Experts who have studied these cases emphasize that the combination of eyewitness testimony with physical evidence strengthens the overall credibility of UFO encounters. While a single claim may invite skepticism, instances in which multiple witnesses observe an object and leave behind measurable anomalies cannot be dismissed easily. Forensic analysis of soil, vegetation, and metals allows for objective study, bridging the gap between subjective experiences and observable reality. In many cases, the anomalies correlate temporally and spatially with sightings, suggesting causation rather than coincidence. Internationally, similar patterns emerge. In Brazil, reports of luminous objects over farmlands have been followed by soil compaction, crop damage, and magnetic anomalies. In Russia, declassified files detail zones where multiple sightings coincided with soil and vegetation disturbances, sometimes accompanied by unexplained physiological effects on humans and animals. Across continents, these reports highlight a consistent theme. UFO phenomena often leave a measurable imprint on the physical world, one that challenges the conventional boundaries of science, engineering, and biology. Perhaps most intriguing are the instances where evidence resists replication or conventional analysis. Scientists frequently encounter anomalies that vanish or alter by the time analysis is performed, suggesting either transient energy interactions or forces beyond current understanding. This impermanence complicates study, creating a paradox in which evidence exists yet cannot always be reliably captured. Such challenges force researchers to expand their methodologies, combining field observation, laboratory analysis, and cross-disciplinary study to approach the unknown. Some researchers have proposed that the observed anomalies could indicate advanced energy manipulation, anti-gravity technology, or other phenomena not currently understood by modern physics. The implications are staggering. If these objects are capable of manipulating matter, energy, or electromagnetic fields in ways humans cannot replicate, they represent a technological frontier far beyond our own. Even cautious scientists acknowledge that repeated anomalies, correlated across time and geography, warrant further study rather than dismissal. In the end, physical evidence serves as a bridge between the invisible and the tangible, connecting eyewitness accounts, military reports, and government documentation. Burnt or imprinted land, anomalous radiation, unclassifiable metals, and crop phenomena offer tangible signs that something extraordinary is occurring. Scientists may struggle to categorize these anomalies, but their existence reinforces the notion that UFO encounters are not merely hallucination, folklore, or misinterpretation. They interact with the real world in ways that challenge comprehension. By considering these physical traces alongside abduction reports, pilot sightings, and declassified government files, a coherent pattern emerges. UFO phenomena are persistent, globally distributed, and capable of interacting with matter and energy beyond conventional limits. Experts from multiple disciplines, while cautious in their conclusions, agree that these anomalies cannot be ignored. The challenge lies not only in measurement but in interpretation, requiring an openness to possibilities that stretch the imagination, technology, and understanding of nature itself. Physical evidence, then, is both a confirmation and a provocation. It confirms that extraordinary events occur, and leaves the observer with the unsettling realization that our scientific and technological frameworks are insufficient to explain them. Simultaneously, it provokes inquiry, speculation, and continued investigation, compelling researchers to examine what lies beyond the known and measurable. The combination of tangible traces with experiential and official reports constructs a mosaic of mystery, one that humanity has yet to fully decode. While individual sightings and physical traces reveal the intimate and sometimes eerie nature of UFO encounters, there exists another dimension that underscores their global and undeniable presence: mass sightings and swarms of unidentified objects. Unlike isolated incidents, these events involve large groups of people observing the same phenomena simultaneously, often spanning multiple locations, and sometimes even confirmed by radar or video evidence. The consistency across witnesses, locations, and time frames makes these occurrences particularly compelling, offering a collective testament to the extraordinary. One of the earliest well-documented mass sightings occurred in 1561 over Nuremberg, Germany, where townspeople reported seeing hundreds of strange objects in the sky. Chronicles describe spheres, crosses, cylinders, and other inexplicable shapes moving in what witnesses interpreted as a chaotic aerial battle. The detailed woodcut illustrations from the period depict these objects with remarkable clarity, suggesting a shared observation rather than individual hallucination. Although centuries old, the Nuremberg event remains a benchmark for historical mass sightings, demonstrating that collective UFO phenomena are not merely a modern invention. Fast forward to 1952, when the Washington, D.C. UFO incident captured national attention. Over the course of several weeks, radar operators and thousands of civilians reported mysterious lights over the capital. Fighter jets were scrambled to intercept them, yet the objects moved with extraordinary speed, disappearing and reappearing in ways that defied conventional flight physics. Newspapers covered the phenomenon extensively, and government officials publicly acknowledged the sightings, underscoring their scale and credibility. Residents described seeing multiple glowing objects that hovered, darted, and executed synchronized maneuvers, leaving the city in awe and a measure of fear. In South America, mass sightings have been documented extensively throughout the 20th and 21st centuries. In 1980, residents of the Brazilian city of Colors reported dozens of luminous objects descending from the sky, sometimes interacting directly with the population. People described bright lights that emitted beams, occasionally causing burns or temporary paralysis. Photographs and video footage captured the objects, and official investigations confirmed the unusual patterns of light. Local communities were profoundly affected, with schools, businesses, and families directly witnessing events that challenged conventional understanding of atmospheric and celestial phenomena. Modern-day swarms continue to reinforce the extraordinary nature of these events. In 2014, residents across Chile reported seeing a fleet of fast-moving, coordinated lights in the night sky. The objects moved in a synchronized fashion, maintaining geometric formations, hovering in place, and then accelerating at seemingly impossible speeds. Multiple cameras and smartphones captured footage, allowing researchers to analyze movement, timing, and shape consistency. The reports were consistent across witnesses, with descriptions noting round or oval shapes, pulsating lights, and erratic but coordinated trajectories. Such swarms create a collective experience that is difficult to dismiss as optical illusion or misinterpretation. Patterns observed in mass sightings reveal recurring traits. Objects often move in groups rather than isolation, exhibiting synchronized movement that suggests intelligence or deliberate coordination. Shapes are frequently consistent across witnesses, often reported as discs, spheres, triangles, or elongated ovals. Lights pulsate, change color, or vanish suddenly, indicating control over visibility and energy emission. Unlike conventional aircraft or meteorological phenomena, these swarms demonstrate maneuverability, sudden acceleration, and precise spatial organization that defy known physics. The impact on local communities can be profound. During the 1997 Phoenix Lights incident in Arizona, tens of thousands of residents reported seeing V-shaped formations of lights moving silently across the sky. Families, police officers, and pilots alike described the objects with remarkable consistency, leading to widespread media coverage and ongoing debate. Eyewitnesses reported awe, fear, and confusion, and the event left an enduring mark on the collective consciousness of the region. Sociologists studying the phenomenon note that mass sightings can alter perception of the environment, inspire local folklore, and influence communal awareness of unexplained phenomena. Multiple independent observations strengthen credibility. In many cases, radar data, photographic evidence, and eyewitness testimony converge to create a robust record. For example, the Belgian UFO wave from 1989 to 1990 involved thousands of civilians and military personnel observing triangular-shaped crafts with lights at each corner. Radar confirmation supported visual sightings, and police reports documented public interactions with these objects. Analysts noted that the formations moved silently, maintained cohesion over long distances, and executed sudden directional changes, all behaviors inconsistent with conventional aircraft. Internationally, mass sightings exhibit similar patterns, suggesting a global phenomenon. In 2006, residents of Istanbul, Turkey, reported simultaneous sightings of luminous objects forming geometric patterns over the Bosporus. Multiple neighborhoods observed the event, and amateur video footage captured lights moving in precise formation before disappearing entirely. Similar occurrences have been reported in Japan, Canada, and Mexico, often with multiple witnesses, video or photographic documentation, and consistent descriptions of movement, shape, and behavior. The recurrence of these traits points to an organized phenomenon rather than random anomalies. The emotional and psychological impact of witnessing swarms is unique. Unlike solitary encounters, mass sightings create a shared experience, often intensifying feelings of awe, fear, and curiosity. Witnesses frequently describe a sense of interconnectedness, as if the phenomenon were both observing and interacting with the collective consciousness of those present. In some cases, individuals report physiological reactions, heightened heart rate, vertigo, or feelings of pressure during the observation, suggesting that the objects may exert an influence beyond visual presence. Investigators analyzing mass sightings emphasize the difficulty in explaining such phenomena through conventional means. Meteorological events, aircraft, satellites, or drones fail to account for the observed coordination, speed, and spatial patterns. Radar corroboration and video documentation provide further evidence that these objects are tangible, operating under rules that differ from human technology. The consistency across different eras, cultures, and geographies strengthens the argument that mass sightings are part of a broader, persistent phenomenon that transcends local conditions. Some of the most compelling modern examples involve swarm behavior that appears intentional. Witnesses in multiple countries report objects moving in formation, splitting and merging, and executing patterns that seem deliberate. In one incident in Northern Europe, observers documented a triangular formation splitting into smaller groups, each executing separate maneuvers before reconvening. The precision of these movements suggests intelligence or highly advanced automated control, challenging assumptions about propulsion, coordination, and the limits of human engineering. Mass sightings also provide opportunities for scientific observation. The simultaneous presence of multiple witnesses allows for triangulation, video analysis, and cross-referencing of data. Researchers can examine speed, trajectory, luminosity, and pattern formation, offering insights that solitary encounters rarely provide. While full explanation remains elusive, the data collected from these events is critical for understanding the phenomenon's consistency, scope, and potential implications for both human observation and technological assessment. The historical and contemporary record reveals a striking continuity. From the Nuremberg sky battles to Phoenix, Belgium, Chile, and beyond, swarms of unidentified objects consistently exhibit organized movement, bright illumination, and sudden disappearance. They appear capable of interacting with their environment, avoiding detection or interception, and maintaining coherence over significant distances. Unlike isolated sightings, swarms involve multiple observers, leaving no room for simple misidentification or hallucination. The cumulative effect of these events paints a picture of a persistent, coordinated phenomenon that continues to challenge our understanding of aerial reality. As mass sightings and swarms illustrate, collective observation provides compelling evidence for UFO phenomena, yet the integration of photo, video, and radar data offers an even more tangible dimension. These forms of documentation serve as critical tools, bridging the gap between anecdotal accounts and empirical observation. While skeptics often question authenticity, careful analysis frequently reveals correlations that defy conventional explanation, strengthening the overall credibility of encounters. The rise of photography and videography in the mid-20th century coincided with an increase in documented UFO sightings. Early reports from the 1940s and 1950s relied on black and white photographs, often capturing bright lights or vague shapes in the sky. One of the most famous early examples is the 1947 photograph taken by pilot Kenneth Arnold, showing 9 unidentified flying objects near Mount Rainier. Arnold's descriptions of saucer-like movement were complemented by images, providing a visual reference that sparked national interest. While the photographs themselves were grainy, subsequent analysis of trajectory, lighting, and context aligned with the pilot's account, reinforcing the veracity of the observation. Video evidence adds a dynamic layer to documentation, capturing movement, speed, and behavior in real time. Perhaps the most widely known contemporary examples are the Navy-released videos from 2004 and 2015, including the gimbal, go fast, and FLIR recordings. Pilots using advanced infrared cameras recorded objects performing rapid acceleration, abrupt changes in direction, and velocities far beyond the capability of known aircraft. The videos were verified by the Department of Defense as authentic, sparking extensive debate among scientists, engineers, and aviation experts. Each clip offers visual data that, when correlated with pilot testimony and radar tracking, presents a compelling anomaly that challenges conventional aerodynamic understanding. Civilians have also contributed extensively to the body of visual evidence. With the proliferation of smartphones and digital cameras, reports capturing unidentified lights, disks, and formations have become more frequent and detailed. In Chile, a 2014 event recorded by multiple residents displayed coordinated lights forming geometric patterns in the sky. The consistency across videos, combined with eyewitness testimony, allowed investigators to triangulate object positions and movement. Analysis confirmed that the lights were not conventional aircraft, drones, or atmospheric phenomena, underscoring the challenge of reconciling visual observation with known physical laws. Radar evidence adds a critical technical component, often validating photographic or video observations. Military and civilian radar systems frequently detect anomalous objects corresponding to visual reports. The 1980 Belgian UFO wave, for instance, involved multiple F-16 pilots who not only visually observed triangular crafts with lights at each corner, but also confirmed their presence on military radar. The radar tracks displayed acceleration and agility that exceeded known aircraft capabilities, and the temporal correlation with civilian reports reinforced the authenticity of the event. Radar thus serves as an independent verification tool, reducing the likelihood of misidentification or hoax. The combination of photographic, video, and radar data allows researchers to cross-reference multiple sources, enhancing reliability. In one notable case in Japan, a commercial pilot captured infrared video of an object moving alongside his aircraft while air traffic controllers simultaneously tracked it on radar. The object exhibited sudden directional changes and speeds inconsistent with any human technology. Independent analysts reviewed both the radar logs and video footage, concluding that conventional explanations were inadequate. Such cases illustrate the importance of multimodal evidence, in which corroboration across different platforms strengthens the credibility of UFO encounters. Authenticity remains a central concern in evaluating visual evidence. Hoaxes, misinterpretations of natural phenomena, and camera artifacts can account for some reports. Nevertheless, rigorous scientific and forensic analysis often distinguishes genuine anomalies from fabrications. Techniques include examining metadata, light behavior, trajectory analysis, and triangulation with radar or additional witnesses. In multiple instances, experts have concluded that objects captured on film display consistent movement patterns, illumination, and interaction with the environment that cannot be explained by conventional means. Even after extensive scrutiny, certain cases defy rational explanation, suggesting the presence of phenomena beyond current technological understanding. Historical examples also provide context for modern evidence. The Cache Landrum incident in Texas, 1980, involved two witnesses observing a glowing, diamond-shaped craft. Photographs taken later by investigators, combined with physical effects reported, burns and radiation-like symptoms, lent credence to the sighting. While no video existed at the time, the photographic record, combined with consistent eyewitness and medical reports, created a multi-dimensional account that parallels modern infrared and high-resolution video evidence. The event demonstrates that cross-disciplinary documentation, even with limited technology, can provide compelling insight into unexplained phenomena. Modern analytic methods further enhance the study of video and photographic evidence. Computer modeling, frame-by-frame analysis, and spectral analysis allow researchers to evaluate speed, scale, and behavior of objects. In multiple European cases, analysis revealed that luminous orbs exhibited acceleration patterns inconsistent with any known aircraft or meteorological effect. Independent observers confirmed that light intensity, shadow behavior, and movement trajectories defied natural or human-made explanations. When combined with eyewitness testimony and radar data, these analyses provide a triangulated framework that strengthens the overall credibility of reports. One challenge is the ephemeral and transient nature of these phenomena. Objects often disappear from view suddenly, or change velocity in ways that complicate measurement. Many videos capture only brief glimpses, sometimes lasting seconds, creating difficulties in extrapolating precise speed or size. Nevertheless, patterns across multiple recordings, including triangulated positions, light emission consistency, and observed interaction with atmospheric conditions, suggest that these objects are neither illusions nor conventional aircraft. Repeated occurrences in multiple regions further reinforce the anomaly's persistence and credibility. Some cases involve simultaneous, multimodal documentation. During a 2008 event in Mexico, several citizens recorded bright lights performing rapid maneuvers, while military radar confirmed their presence and trajectory. Analysts cross-referenced timestamps from multiple videos and radar readings, demonstrating a clear correlation between observed movement and technical tracking. Such cases are invaluable for investigation, as they provide simultaneous visual, auditory, and radar confirmation, minimizing the likelihood of error or deception. These multi-layered accounts bridge anecdotal and empirical evidence, creating an unusually robust case for scientific attention. Even with rigorous analysis, certain evidence remains inexplicable. Objects appear to interact with their environment in unusual ways, hovering without propulsion, accelerating instantaneously, or performing sudden maneuvers that defy conventional physics. Infrared footage sometimes captures objects with no discernible heat signature, and radar often confirms movement beyond known acceleration limits. These persistent anomalies underscore the limitations of current technology and highlight the need for continued, systematic study. Scientists emphasize that the goal is not necessarily to prove extraterrestrial origin, but to understand and document behaviors and characteristics that conventional frameworks cannot accommodate. The interplay of eyewitness testimony, photographic/video evidence, and radar confirmation demonstrates the multi-layered complexity of UFO phenomena. Where anecdotal accounts may invite skepticism, technical evidence corroborates and reinforces the reality of the observations. In many cases, cross-referencing these sources provides patterns of behavior, acceleration, formation, and luminosity that consistently challenge human understanding. The convergence of independent data streams, visual, instrumental, and testimonial, strengthens the argument for genuine anomalies in the sky. In conclusion, photo, video, and radar evidence provide an invaluable complement to the other dimensions of UFO research. From early pilot photographs to modern infrared videos, from civilian smartphone footage to military radar tracks, the corpus of documented material consistently presents anomalies that resist conventional explanation. While authenticity and hoax remain concerns, careful analysis often distinguishes genuine phenomena from misinterpretation, leaving a significant portion of evidence that defies conventional understanding. By combining multiple modes of observation, researchers can approach these phenomena with rigor and objectivity, yet the fundamental mystery remains. Despite the technological and analytical tools at our disposal, some objects continue to move, hover, and accelerate in ways that challenge the very limits of human knowledge. Having examined first-hand accounts, mass sightings, and tangible evidence, a natural question emerges. What could explain these phenomena? Scholars, scientists, and investigators have long sought to categorize UFO encounters, and multiple hypotheses have been proposed. While no single explanation accounts for every aspect of the evidence, patterns in eyewitness reports, physical traces, and technological anomalies provide a framework for exploring plausible scenarios. The extraterrestrial hypothesis remains one of the most widely discussed and popular theories. Proponents argue that the speed, maneuverability, and intelligence implied by these objects far exceed current human capabilities, suggesting origin from advanced civilizations beyond Earth. Many mass sightings, such as the Phoenix Lights or Belgian UFO wave, demonstrate coordinated movement and sudden acceleration patterns that defy known aeronautics. Supporters of this hypothesis highlight the consistency of craft shapes, behaviors, and reported occupants across decades and continents, suggesting repeated visits by entities operating with clear intent. Witnesses who describe humanoid or semi-humanoid figures, often with large eyes and small frames, further fuel speculation about extraterrestrial life forms studying humanity. Yet even within the extraterrestrial framework, variability exists. Not all sightings involve apparent beings, and some focus entirely on physical anomalies, like unexplained lights, high-energy beams, or radar-confirmed craft that vanish without trace. Researchers note that the phenomenon seems to straddle multiple layers, occasionally interacting with human witnesses, sometimes leaving physical traces on land or vegetation, and often displaying technological behavior that cannot be reconciled with human or known alien models. These complexities illustrate why, despite its appeal, the extraterrestrial hypothesis cannot fully encompass the diversity of encounters. Another line of inquiry involves interdimensional or non-physical explanations. Some theorists propose that UFOs may represent access points to parallel dimensions, realities, or planes of existence beyond our perception. Such a model could account for reports of sudden disappearance, missing time, or objects that seem to violate the known laws of physics. Abduction accounts with memory gaps, strange lights, and sensations of movement through space or time align with this framework, suggesting that witnesses may have interacted with entities or environments existing partially outside our observable universe. While speculative, this theory allows for phenomena that are not strictly bound by human physics, providing a possible lens for some of the more puzzling anomalies. Secret or experimental military technology is another potential explanation. Governments worldwide have historically tested advanced aircraft, drones, and surveillance systems under conditions of strict secrecy. Many UFO sightings, particularly near military installations or restricted zones, may coincide with classified testing programs. This theory is sometimes invoked to explain triangular-shaped crafts, stealthy movements, or high-speed aerial objects captured on radar. However, several patterns challenge this interpretation. Craft performing maneuvers exceeding the known limits of physics, multiple simultaneous sightings across widely separated areas, and physical evidence, such as anomalous metals or radiation, that do not match conventional engineering. While secret military tech may account for some sightings, it cannot explain the totality of the documented phenomena. Mass psychology and socio-cultural influences also play a role in interpreting the UFO phenomenon. Human perception is subject to cognitive biases, pattern recognition, and suggestibility. Witnesses may interpret lights, aircraft, or celestial bodies through the lens of cultural expectation, folklore, or media exposure. Mass hysteria or collective suggestion can amplify reports, leading to widespread attention and the creation of shared narratives. However, while psychological explanations can account for certain hoaxes, misperceptions, or exaggerated stories, they fall short when confronted with multimodal evidence, including radar confirmations, physical traces, and correlated eyewitness accounts across vast distances. The consistency and material corroboration of many cases resist purely psychological interpretation. Expert commentary emphasizes the multifactorial nature of the phenomenon. Dr. Jacques Vallée, a leading researcher, notes that UFOs exhibit intelligence, control, and adaptability that suggest they are neither entirely natural nor purely human constructs. Similarly, Former military pilots stress the reality of objects exhibiting capabilities far beyond any aircraft in operation. Physicists examining high-energy or radiation anomalies often find evidence that defies conventional scientific explanation, implying that our understanding of matter, energy, and propulsion may be incomplete. The convergence of diverse expert perspectives underscores a key theme. No single hypothesis fully accounts for the breadth of the phenomenon. Patterns observed across cases provide crucial insight. Sightings frequently occur in remote or sparsely populated areas, yet urban encounters also exist. Objects display acceleration, rapid directional changes, and hovering that defy gravitational norms. Abduction accounts share themes of missing time, examination, and interaction with luminous entities, while physical evidence often includes anomalous metals, scorched soil, and electromagnetic disruption. These recurring elements suggest that, despite variation, there is a coherent underlying phenomenon manifesting in multiple forms. Investigators categorize these manifestations as interconnected yet diverse expressions of a single, unexplained reality. Temporal and geographical distribution further complicates interpretation. UFO reports span centuries, from historical sightings like Nuremberg in 1561 to modern-day drone-era events. Global patterns indicate that sightings are not confined to a single culture or region, suggesting that the phenomenon is both persistent and universal. This distribution challenges explanations limited to local culture, psychological suggestion, or experimental technology, pointing instead toward an enduring, possibly non-local phenomenon. Experts also examine the intersection of physical and experiential evidence. Cases involving both eyewitness testimony and tangible traces, burnt land, magnetic anomalies, or isotopic irregularities, highlight the duality of UFO encounters. They are both perceptual and material. This duality reinforces the idea that any single explanation, whether extraterrestrial, interdimensional, psychological, or technological, is insufficient. Instead, a comprehensive approach must integrate observation, documentation, and multidisciplinary analysis to explore the phenomenon's complexity. Theories of consciousness interaction and observer effect have also been suggested. Some researchers speculate that UFO phenomena may be influenced by human perception itself, manifesting differently based on witness expectation, cultural context, or even collective consciousness. This could account for variations in reported behavior while maintaining a consistent underlying pattern. While highly speculative, such ideas highlight the limitations of conventional scientific paradigms in fully capturing the phenomenon. Finally, the absence of definitive proof for any hypothesis is itself significant. Despite decades of investigation, declassified documents, radar data, physical traces, and first-hand testimony, no explanation unifies all observed behavior, anomalies, and recurring patterns. The UFO phenomenon resists categorization, demonstrating a remarkable adaptability and consistency that challenge researchers to think beyond traditional models. This ongoing mystery fuels curiosity, debate, and scientific inquiry, compelling experts to approach the subject with open-minded skepticism. In sum, the exploration of patterns, theories, and possible explanations reveals a multi-layered phenomenon. Extraterrestrial origin, interdimensional hypotheses, secret technology, psychological factors, and observer-dependent theories each offer partial insights. Correlating eyewitness testimony with physical traces, mass sightings, radar, and video data highlights recurring themes, yet no single model accounts for all dimensions of the phenomenon. Expert commentary emphasizes this complexity, acknowledging both the reality of unexplained events and the limits of current understanding. The enduring mystery, coupled with convergent evidence across centuries and continents, underscores the necessity for continued observation, rigorous analysis, and open-minded investigation. As patterns, theories, and possible explanations continue to intrigue scientists, witnesses, and investigators alike, The impact of UFO encounters extends far beyond individual experience. The phenomenon reaches deep into society, shaping media narratives, cultural expressions, folklore, and collective perception. UFOs are not merely an isolated anomaly in the sky. They ripple through human consciousness, altering belief systems, instilling fear, and inspiring fascination across communities worldwide. Media coverage has historically played a pivotal role in shaping public awareness and opinion. From the early newspaper reports of Kenneth Arnold's 1947 sighting to contemporary television broadcasts of Navy infrared footage, coverage often alternates between sensationalism and serious inquiry. Headlines describing flying saucers or alien invasions capture attention, while investigative reporting and expert commentary aim to contextualize sightings with evidence and analysis. The interplay between sensational media and credible reporting has a dual effect. It raises awareness, yet sometimes fosters skepticism or dismissal. Public perception is thus constantly mediated through the lens of journalism, which can amplify fear, fascination, or disbelief depending on presentation. UFOs have a long-standing influence on folklore and myth, often blending with pre-existing cultural narratives. Historical accounts of sky battles, mysterious lights, and celestial phenomena suggest that humans have long interpreted unexplained aerial events through the lens of the familiar, angels, spirits, or divine signs. Modern UFO lore continues this tradition, creating a collective mythology in which extraterrestrial visitors, abduction scenarios, and unexplained craft occupy a shared imaginative space. Folklorists note that recurring motifs, lights in the sky, missing time, humanoid beings, persist across cultures, linking contemporary reports to centuries of human storytelling and symbolic interpretation. Fear and fascination are central to the social response. Witnesses frequently describe a mix of awe, terror, and curiosity during encounters, and these emotions often resonate throughout the broader community. In small towns where UFO swarms are observed, entire populations may experience heightened anxiety, with children, families, and neighbors collectively processing the events. In Phoenix during the 1997 lights, residents reported excitement alongside unease, with discussions permeating workplaces, schools, and social networks. The emotional weight of such phenomena demonstrates that UFO encounters are not purely intellectual experiences. They shape feelings, beliefs, and behaviors in profound ways. Government secrecy and disclosure policies further complicate public perception. Declassified reports, such as those from Project Blue Book, the Pentagon UFO Task Force, and other international programs, reveal that authorities have long monitored and documented encounters. The existence of these programs, coupled with continued secrecy around certain events, fosters suspicion and speculation. Citizens often interpret non-disclosure as evidence of hidden knowledge, creating a tension between trust in institutions and curiosity about the unknown. This dynamic has a lasting cultural effect, influencing both popular narratives and individual beliefs about the reality of UFO phenomena. Public skepticism coexists with fascination, shaping the social dialogue surrounding UFOs. Scientists, journalists, and academics frequently caution against hasty conclusions, emphasizing natural explanations, psychological factors, and potential hoaxes. Yet repeated, verifiable anomalies, radar data, physical traces, multi-witness corroboration, resist simple dismissal. Communities exposed to multiple encounters or documented swarms often experience a heightened awareness, developing a cautious respect for phenomena that appear both real and unexplainable. This interplay between doubt and belief defines the cultural context in which UFO phenomena are interpreted. Popular culture amplifies and codifies UFO experiences, embedding them into films, literature, television, and video games. From early science fiction novels to blockbuster films, depictions of alien life, flying saucers, and abduction scenarios shape expectations and influence perception. Cultural representations can both educate and sensationalize, offering frameworks through which individuals interpret personal encounters. A person witnessing an unusual aerial phenomenon may unconsciously filter their experience through media-driven archetypes, blending reality with cultural narrative. Yet these portrayals also spark curiosity, inspire scientific inquiry, and normalize discussion about the unexplained, fostering an ongoing dialogue between imagination and observation. The emotional and psychological effects on witnesses are profound. Individuals who experience sightings, abductions, or physical anomalies often report lasting impressions, ranging from fascination to trauma. In abduction cases, recurring dreams, flashbacks, and anxiety can affect daily life, employment, and relationships. Even less intimate encounters, such as witnessing a brightly lit craft or mass swarm, can alter perception of reality, instilling a heightened awareness of the unknown. Communities collectively experience these psychological impacts when multiple residents observe the same events, creating shared narratives that influence local culture, belief systems, and communal memory. Social networks and online platforms now play a crucial role in documenting and disseminating sightings. Digital media allows instantaneous sharing of photographs, video clips, and eyewitness accounts, creating global awareness in real time. While this facilitates verification, cross-referencing, and collaborative analysis, it also accelerates the spread of misinformation, hoaxes, and exaggeration. The digital age intensifies both fascination and skepticism, shaping a contemporary cultural response in which UFO phenomena are simultaneously democratized and contested. The global distribution of encounters highlights cultural differences in interpretation. In Japan, UFO reports often blend with spiritual beliefs and folklore, framing experiences within concepts of otherworldly visitation and guardian spirits. In Latin America, abduction narratives frequently include vivid interaction with entities, bright lights, and tangible effects, often influencing community practices and religious interpretations. North America emphasizes technological and extraterrestrial frameworks, with government disclosure and media analysis dominating public discourse. Despite these regional variations, recurring motifs, lights, craft shapes, missing time, physical traces, demonstrate a shared human response to unexplained aerial phenomena. The interplay between witness experience, media representation, government disclosure, and cultural narrative creates a dynamic ecosystem around UFO phenomena. Individuals and communities navigate uncertainty, excitement, and fear, while popular culture and official reports provide interpretive frameworks. Education, awareness campaigns, and scientific investigation attempt to mediate understanding, yet the mysterious nature of encounters ensures that fascination remains pervasive. UFO phenomena, in this context, act as mirrors reflecting societal curiosity, skepticism, and imagination simultaneously. Economic and social impacts are also evident. Tourism in areas of repeated sightings increases, with visitors seeking to observe phenomena firsthand. Local economies can experience short-term booms, yet the influx of attention sometimes strains community resources and social cohesion. Simultaneously, legal and regulatory responses to reported landings, electromagnetic interference, or physical traces illustrate the practical implications of UFO phenomena on everyday life. Governments and communities must navigate safety, scientific investigation, and public communication while balancing credibility with openness. Cultural responses extend to art, literature, and academic discourse. Writers, filmmakers, and scholars engage with UFO phenomena as symbols of the unknown, technological possibility, or existential inquiry. The aesthetic and intellectual engagement contributes to a shared cultural memory, embedding sightings, abductions, and physical evidence into societal consciousness. Artifacts of this engagement, novels, films, documentaries, both reflect and shape public perception, ensuring that UFO phenomena remain part of the collective imagination regardless of individual belief. Finally, UFO encounters challenged societal assumptions about reality, technology, and the limits of human knowledge. Witnesses, communities, and cultures confront the possibility that phenomena exist beyond current comprehension, inspiring curiosity, skepticism, and debate. The emotional, psychological, and cultural responses are inseparable from the phenomena themselves, demonstrating that the human dimension, perception, interpretation, and reaction, is as critical as the physical evidence in understanding the global impact. Societies worldwide continue to navigate the tension between fascination and fear, secrecy and disclosure, skepticism and belief, illustrating the enduring influence of UFO encounters on human experience. As UFO encounters have shaped culture, psychology, and collective imagination, certain cases stand out for their enduring mystery, defying explanation despite decades of investigation. These chilling unsolved cases continue to haunt researchers, skeptics, and believers alike, providing some of the most compelling evidence of phenomena that resist categorization. Unlike more explainable sightings or isolated anecdotes, these events combine multiple forms of corroboration: eyewitness testimony, radar data, photographic evidence, and physical traces, yet remain unresolved, highlighting the persistent enigma of UFOs. The Rendlesham Forest incident of 1980 in Suffolk, England, remains one of the most studied and perplexing encounters. Over several nights, United States Air Force personnel stationed at RAF Woodbridge reported seeing strange lights and an object landing in the forest. Witnesses described a metallic, triangular craft that emitted beams of light and caused temporary malfunction of electronic equipment. Some reported physical imprints on the forest floor, as well as burns and depressions in the soil. Multiple personnel independently observed the craft, and one even reported approaching it, noting strange markings on its surface. Despite official investigations and declassified memos, no definitive explanation emerged. Radar did not always detect the craft consistently, yet the convergence of multiple credible witnesses and physical evidence ensures Rendlesham Forest remains a chilling case of unexplained aerial phenomena. Another high-profile, unsolved encounter occurred in the skies above Phoenix, Arizona, in 1997. Tens of thousands of residents reported seeing massive V-shaped lights moving silently across the night sky. The lights were so large that some observers initially thought they were military aircraft, yet no known flight patterns or official explanations accounted for their scale, formation, or silent movement. Radar operators confirmed anomalies in the region, though the objects often appeared and disappeared without warning. The combination of mass eyewitness reports, photographic and video evidence, and inconsistent official explanations created a sense of unresolved mystery. Communities were left to reconcile the shared experience with the absence of authoritative clarification, embedding the Phoenix lights deeply into UFO folklore. The Belgian UFO wave between 1989 and 1990 is another striking example. Over several months, thousands of civilians and military personnel observed large, triangular craft with lights at each corner. Witnesses described precise, silent flight, sudden acceleration, and the ability to hover with perfect stability. Military radar confirmed the object's presence on multiple occasions, and jets were scrambled to intercept them, only to report craft capable of maneuvers far beyond human aircraft. Despite extensive investigation, including documentation by police and the Belgian Air Force, the objects remain unexplained. The case is notable for its multimodal corroboration, spanning visual, technical, and documentary evidence, yet the inability to provide a satisfying explanation continues to confound authorities. In South America, the collars phenomenon of 1977 to 1978 provides chilling insight into both mass sightings and direct physical interaction. Residents of Colors, Brazil, reported luminous objects descending from the sky, sometimes emitting beams that caused burns, dizziness, and temporary incapacitation. Over the course of months, the local population documented dozens of sightings, photographs, and videos. Government scientists conducted investigations under the code name opera Ko proto, yet the findings remained partially classified. Victims reported physiological effects consistent with energy exposure, and some encountered entities associated with the objects. The combination of mass witnessing, physical impact, and unexplained technology left authorities unable to provide a comprehensive explanation, leaving Collars as one of the most unsettling unresolved cases in UFO history. Radar anomalies also provide haunting examples of unexplained phenomena. In the United States during the 1950s and 1960s, military installations frequently recorded unidentified blips exhibiting extraordinary speeds, abrupt stops, and instant directional changes. The 1952 Washington, D.C. UFO incident saw radar operators detecting multiple high-speed objects over the Capitol, corresponding with civilian sightings. Jets were dispatched to intercept these anomalies, yet pilots reported objects accelerating beyond human capability and vanishing from sight in seconds. Despite extensive government documentation, including Project Blue Book reports, the cases remain officially unresolved, emphasizing the limits of human technology and the persistent unknown. Abduction cases add another layer of complexity and fear to unsolved phenomena. The Travis Walton abduction in 1975 Arizona involved 6 witnesses observing a luminous craft, followed by Walton's disappearance for several days. Investigators documented physical and psychological evidence, and Walton's eventual return included consistent recollections of interaction with beings aboard the craft. Polygraph tests of multiple witnesses supported their accounts, yet conventional explanations, hoax, misidentification, or natural phenomenon, failed to account for the combination of mass witnessing, physical traces, and psychological effects. This unresolved encounter illustrates the disturbing capacity of UFO phenomena to merge human perception with tangible consequences in ways that authorities cannot fully explain. Some cases involve multiple layers of corroboration that heighten the chilling impact. In Japan, 2007, numerous citizens reported synchronized lights performing coordinated maneuvers over urban and rural areas. Multiple cameras, radar, and amateur astronomers documented the event, yet analysis failed to attribute the objects to drones, aircraft, or meteorological causes. Witnesses described objects disappearing instantly, sometimes leaving afterimages in the sky, and causing brief electronic disturbances. Authorities reviewed the evidence but offered no official explanation, leaving communities with unanswered questions and lingering unease. Unresolved physical evidence often accompanies these encounters, intensifying their enigmatic nature. Burnt or imprinted land, unusual metals, and radiation anomalies are documented in multiple high-profile unsolved cases, from Rendlesham Forest to Collars and beyond. In several instances, investigators recovered materials that did not correspond to known alloys or environmental signatures, and radiation measurements in proximity to landing sites exceeded natural background levels. Despite expert analysis, the origin and purpose of these anomalies remain unexplained, suggesting interactions between unidentified objects and the environment that continue to elude scientific understanding. Psychological and social impacts are equally profound. Witnesses often report long-term anxiety, fear, and altered perception of reality. Communities experiencing mass sightings or repeated incidents frequently display heightened vigilance, shared narratives, and, in some cases, collective anxiety. These experiences underscore the human dimension of UFO phenomena. Encounters do not merely challenge understanding of physics or technology, but also influence societal cohesion, collective memory, and individual psychology. The unresolved nature of high-profile cases amplifies these effects, leaving witnesses and communities without closure or authoritative interpretation. Internationally, unsolved encounters demonstrate remarkable consistency. Across continents, from North America and Europe to South America and Asia, witnesses describe similar craft shapes, luminous patterns, and anomalous movement. Radar, photographic, and physical evidence corroborate these accounts, yet authorities rarely provide conclusive explanations. This global pattern suggests a persistent and recurring phenomenon, one that resists simple classification or debunking, reinforcing the enduring mystery. Researchers emphasize that the inability of governments or scientific institutions to resolve these cases does not diminish their credibility. Rather, it highlights the limits of current knowledge and technology in fully comprehending these events. The persistence of unanswered questions is a defining feature of chilling, unsolved cases. Who, or what, is operating these objects? How do they achieve impossible acceleration, sudden disappearance, and precise maneuverability? Why do some encounters involve physical interaction or abduction, while others remain purely visual? Authorities, despite access to radar, military observation, and declassified documents, often fail to provide satisfactory explanations. This absence of closure leaves the public, researchers, and witnesses with a profound sense of the unknown, emphasizing that the phenomenon is not only recurrent but actively defies resolution. Finally, the unresolved nature of these encounters ensures their enduring relevance. Rendlesham Forest, Phoenix, Belgium, Collars, Travis Walton, and other cases continue to be studied, debated, and referenced in both scientific inquiry and popular culture. Their chilling nature lies not only in unexplained observation but in the inability of official systems to account for them, leaving a haunting question in the minds of those who study or witness them. What are these objects, and why do they continue to evade understanding? The persistence of these mysteries underscores a central truth. The UFO phenomenon is not merely a historical curiosity or isolated anomaly. It is an ongoing, globally significant puzzle that challenges human perception, technology, and comprehension. After examining eyewitness accounts, military and pilot reports, mass sightings, photographic and radar evidence, and chilling unsolved cases, one truth becomes increasingly apparent. UFO phenomena remain one of the most perplexing enigmas facing humanity. Despite decades of investigation, declassified documents, technological analysis, and public scrutiny, no single explanation fully accounts for the breadth, complexity, and consistency of these encounters. From the eerie lights of Rendlesham Forest to the global mass sightings spanning continents and decades, the evidence reveals a reality that challenges conventional understanding at every level. Patterns emerge when reviewing these encounters collectively. Witnesses consistently describe luminous craft, rapid acceleration, impossible maneuvers, and sometimes direct interaction with human observers. These patterns span decades, cultures, and continents, suggesting a recurring phenomenon rather than isolated anomalies. Abduction accounts, reports of missing time, and physical traces such as imprinted or scorched land indicate that some encounters extend beyond mere observation into tangible, measurable effects. Even when skepticism is warranted, the convergence of eyewitness reliability, radar confirmation, and physical evidence repeatedly demonstrates that these phenomena are not entirely figments of imagination. Eyewitness credibility remains strikingly high in numerous cases. Military personnel, pilots, air traffic controllers, and multiple civilian witnesses often provide accounts that are independently corroborated through radar, video, or physical documentation. Incidents like the Belgian UFO wave, the Phoenix lights, and Travis Walton's abduction illustrate how multiple observers perceive the same events consistently, often under different perspectives, and yet report details that align precisely. Such consistency challenges the notion that misidentification, hallucination, or mass hysteria can account for the experiences. The phenomenon persists across highly trained and experienced observers, underscoring the legitimacy of the accounts. The physical evidence associated with UFO encounters further complicates skepticism. Objects leave imprints in soil, burn marks on vegetation, anomalous radiation readings, and even metallic fragments with unusual properties. In Collars, Brazil, for example, witnesses reported burns and temporary incapacitation caused by beams emitted from luminous objects, while Opera Cayo Proto documented these incidents with photographs and field investigation. In Rendlesham Forest, soil depressions, burn marks, and electromagnetic interference were observed in conjunction with first-hand accounts. These tangible effects reinforce the notion that UFO phenomena interact with the physical world in ways not yet understood by science or engineering. Technological documentation has elevated the study of UFOs to unprecedented levels. Photographs, video footage, and radar tracking provide data that is difficult to dispute. Infrared videos released by the U.S. Navy captured objects performing high-speed maneuvers, abrupt stops, and directional changes that exceed any known human technology. Multi-witness videos and corroborating radar data, such as those observed in Japan, Chile, and Belgium, present cases that resist conventional explanation, demonstrating that the phenomenon operates in dimensions that challenge current scientific and engineering understanding. Each layer of technical documentation strengthens the argument that these are real, physical phenomena, not merely anecdotal or imagined events. One of the most unsettling aspects is the diversity of theories and the absence of a unifying explanation. Extraterrestrial origin, interdimensional travel, secret military technology, or psychological factors each account for fragments of the phenomenon but fail to encompass the totality. The extraordinary acceleration, maneuverability, and behavior of certain craft suggest technological capabilities beyond known human engineering. Abduction accounts and missing time experiences hint at interactions with intelligence beyond conventional observation. Interdimensional theories attempt to explain sudden appearances and disappearances, yet these too are speculative. The failure to reconcile all evidence into a single framework reinforces the mystery and the unsettling nature of the phenomenon. The global and historical continuity of UFO reports emphasizes that this is not a modern or localized issue. From the Nuremberg sky battles of 1561 to contemporary swarms over urban centers, these encounters are persistent across time and geography. Despite differences in technology, culture, and societal context, recurring elements, luminous objects, anomalous movement, abduction experiences, and physical traces create a consistent pattern. This temporal and geographic consistency challenges conventional explanations and implies a phenomenon that is both enduring and ubiquitous, demanding a serious, open-minded investigation beyond sensational headlines. The societal response to UFO phenomena is equally revealing. Media coverage, folklore, literature, and cinema have amplified and codified these encounters, shaping collective perception and imagination. At the same time, government secrecy, selective disclosure, and bureaucratic opacity have fostered suspicion, speculation, and sometimes fear. Witnesses navigating personal encounters often experience lasting psychological effects, ranging from awe and curiosity to anxiety and trauma. Communities exposed to mass sightings or repeated events develop shared narratives, reinforcing both belief and mystery. In essence, UFO phenomena operate not only in the skies but also in the minds and cultures of those who witness or study them. High-profile, unsolved cases remain central to the unsettling truth. Rendlesham Forest, the Phoenix Lights, the Belgian UFO wave, collars, and Travis Walton's abduction continue to defy resolution despite thorough investigation. Radar blips that move impossibly fast, photographic evidence that resists analysis, and eyewitness accounts that are both detailed and consistent, all converge to create a body of knowledge that cannot be ignored. The persistence of unresolved cases ensures that the phenomenon remains both fascinating and frightening, leaving unanswered questions that continue to haunt researchers and the public alike. The implications of these encounters extend beyond mere curiosity. If some UFOs represent advanced technology, whether human or otherwise, they challenge assumptions about physics, propulsion, and energy. If interdimensional or consciousness-related theories hold merit, they provoke profound questions about the nature of reality itself. Even in the absence of definitive conclusions, the evidence compels humanity to reconsider its understanding of the universe, the limits of observation, and the potential existence of intelligence beyond our current comprehension. Each encounter, especially unsolved ones, acts as a reminder of how much remains unknown. Ultimately, the unsettling truth about UFOs is that they cannot be neatly categorized or dismissed. Despite decades of rigorous research, scientific analysis, and official investigation, the phenomenon persists in defiance of conventional explanation. Patterns, corroborated eyewitness testimony, physical evidence, radar confirmation, and global consistency converge to demonstrate a reality that is both compelling and disturbing. The mystery remains unresolved, yet it continues to challenge human understanding, inviting both skepticism and curiosity in equal measure. As viewers consider the totality of the evidence presented, from historical mass sightings and chilling abduction accounts to modern radar-confirmed swarms, the question lingers: what are these objects, and why do they continue to evade explanation? Are they advanced extraterrestrial craft, interdimensional visitors, secret human technology, or manifestations of forces we cannot yet comprehend? The answer remains elusive, and perhaps it is this very uncertainty that makes UFO phenomena so compelling, so unsettling, and so enduring in the collective consciousness of humanity. In leaving you with this thought, it becomes clear that the skies above hold mysteries that challenge human understanding, logic, and expectation. The question is no longer whether UFOs exist. They do, as documented through eyewitness testimony, physical traces, radar data, and photographic evidence. The real question is what they mean for our understanding of reality, our technological capability, and our place in a universe that may be far stranger than previously imagined. As the lights flash, the objects hover, and the unexplained phenomena continue, one cannot help but wonder: are we truly alone, or are these encounters a message, a warning, or simply a glimpse into a broader reality that we are only beginning to perceive? The unsettling truth is that despite all the analysis, documentation, and investigation, humanity has yet to fully comprehend the UFO phenomenon. The evidence, patterns, and encounters compel acknowledgement, yet the ultimate origin, intent, and nature remain shrouded in mystery. Perhaps the most chilling realization is not the objects themselves, but the enduring enigma they represent, a persistent reminder that the universe may hold truths far beyond our current understanding, waiting silently in the night sky.